12 universal laws. Number 1, the law of divine oneness. Number 2, the law of vibration. Number 3, the law of action. Number 4, the law of correspondence. Number 5, the law of cause and effect. Number 6, the law of compensation. Number 7, the law of attraction. Number 8, the law of perpetual of transformation of energy. Number 9, the law of relativity. Number 10, the law of polarity. Number 11, the law of rhythm. Number 12, the law of gender. Let's go over each one. Number 1, the law of divine oneness. The law of divine oneness is a fundamental law according to in which absolutely everything in our universe is interconnected. In other words, every choice, word, desire, and belief you have will always have an impact on the world and on the people in your life. Sometimes this impact will be immediate and obvious. At other times it may take a while to manifest, or you may never discover that it has occurred. Try to think of yourself as part of everything around you to live in accordance with this law. We are all one, and awareness of this makes us more powerful as well as more empathetic. Number 2, law of vibration. According to the law of vibration, every particle in the universe is in constant movement and constantly carries energy. This applies to the enormous paths of the universe like the planet and stars. However, it also applies to the chair underneath you or the table where your computer sits. In addition, everything has its own specific energy frequency. High energy particles are naturally attuned to other high energy particles, and the same is true for that have low energy. If your goal is to live a more productive and full life, consider what you would need to do to heighten your energy frequency or vibration. Number 3, law of correspondence. The law of correspondence is directly related to the foundational law of divine oneness. The key idea here is that patterns repeat throughout the universe, and that prominent patterns can also be found repeated in a very small scale. For example, think of the popular example of the spiral pattern that reappears in a huge number of places in our galaxy. Look for patterns in your life and in your thinking and notice how they repeat everywhere in the world. As you do so, consider the kinds of pattern changes you might be able to make and how those create change on a large scale. Number 4, the law of attraction. As you likely already know, the law of attraction tells us that like attracts like. So in order to have the thing you desire in life, you have to work out how to vibrate on the same frequency at these things. The more general lesson here is that being positive, proactive, and loving attracts more of the same into your life. Meanwhile, pessimism, fear, and lethargy will lead you to generate more negative experience in all aspects of your life. By working to live more positively, even just today, you are already using the law of attraction to create a better existence for yourself. Number 5, law of inspired action. Law of attraction practitioners regularly say that they wish they had known about the law of inspired action at an early stage. These two laws are tightly bound together, and the inspired action law tells us that we must actively pursue our goals or challenges. Many people think that visualization of a challenge or goal and developing a positive attitude towards it will be sufficient to exploit the law of attraction. However, you also have to take inspired steps towards that thing, what you want. Whether it is a big or small step, it instantly helps you to attract that relationship, job, or enhanced abundance you seek in life. The law of perpetual transformation of energy states that everything around us is in constant flux. You can't see all these changes because many of them exist at a cellular or atomic level, but they carry on regardless. The reason that it is so important to be aware of this law is that it helps you see how you can trigger positive changes. Specifically, keep in mind that high vibrations can trigger improvement in low vibrations. For example, if you're vibrating at a low frequency, exposing yourself to a high frequency of happy, encouraging friends will trigger energy transformation in you. One of the most straightforward laws of the universe, the law of cause and effect, tells us that all actions have a correspondent reaction. You will already know this, of course, when it comes to the physical aspects of the world. However, perhaps you haven't considered how this law might be applied to the spiritual aspects of the universe. Your spiritual life can impact the world around you, causing positive and negative reactions. Similarly, your physical environment can impact on your spiritual, whether for good or for ill. Ask yourself what type of relationships you see between the spiritual and physical and how you might want to change them. According to the laws of compensation, you will receive what you put out. This is similar to the laws of attraction, but with a focus on the idea that compensation can come in many forms. For example, if you win a large amount of money, then you might think you're getting a reward. However, depending on how you have lived, your vast amount of wealth could lead to a worse life rather than a better one. Essentially, you reap what you sow. This law reminds you to be careful about how you treat others and indeed the planet. The law of relativity is all about the neutrality of things when seen in isolation. So, no particular person, experience, emotion, or action is evaluated as good or bad until you look at it in comparison with something else. For example, you might think you are poor, but perhaps that's because you have 3 wealthy uncles. But keeping this law in mind, you remain conscious of the fact that there are always multiple perspectives on anything that happens to you. Trying to slip into these alternate perspectives can make sure you're more grateful and can show you where you can make improvements in life. When thinking about the law of polarity, the most important thing to remember is that absolutely everything has an opposite, and that it's the very existence of these opposites that allow us to understand our life. Consequently, when you go through something difficult, it will be this thing that helps you truly appreciate the good developments to come. By regularly reminding yourself of this, you can improve your resilience in troubled times. For example, through a bad breakup, it is painful. It teaches you what does work for you in a relationship, helping you to eventually find what does. Sometimes called the law of perpetual motion, the law of rhythm is focused on movement. In particular, it refers to the fact that all things come in cycles. You can see this in nature, in the season, and in body's aging process. However, it equally applies to a person's life stages, and reflecting on this helps you gain perspective. Today's season may be good, but nothing is permanent, so enjoy what you have while it lasts. Alternately, perhaps you're in a negative part of a cycle right now, but it may be the very thing that prepares you for a prosperous change in cycles next. Finally, the law of gender has little to do with biological sex. Rather, it refers to the fact that there are 2 major types of energy. You can think of them as masculine and feminine, as yin and yang, or as anima animus. We all contain a certain amount of both energies and must find a way to achieve a balance between both types if we are to live authentically and happily. Think about the role of each type of energy appears to play in your life, whether there is an excess or a deficient of either.